What happens inside an empath when they are hurt again and again? It doesn't happen suddenly. There is no single moment you can point to and say, that's when it changed. Instead, the change happens quietly. At first, it feels like confusion, not deep pain. Nothing breaks, nothing falls apart. Something just feels slightly off. You notice that your reaction comes later than it used to, not because you don't care, but because something inside you pauses. That pause is new. Before, you felt things right away. You reached out quickly, you explained, you adjusted yourself for others. Now there is a small moment where nothing happens. Most people wouldn't notice it, but you do. You feel your body stay still while your mind watches. That feels strange. The next time it happens, you tell yourself it's nothing. You're just tired. It was a bad day. But it keeps happening. Sometimes it feels like distance. Sometimes like emptiness. Sometimes it's simply the lack of a reaction you expected from yourself. What's confusing is that you're still there. You're still listening, still present, still caring, but something inside is no longer moving the way it used to. You don't rush emotionally anymore. You don't lean in the same way. You don't absorb everything. It's not a choice, it's like a reflex that stopped working. People around you don't notice at first. You're still polite, still kind, still available on the surface, but inside something has changed. Feelings don't flow through you anymore. They arrive and stay. You start wondering when this began. Was it slow? Did you miss the moment it started? You search your memory for one clear reason, a fight, a betrayal, but there isn't one, just many small moments, words that stayed with you too long, silences that felt heavy. Nothing big enough to explain the change, yet the change is real. If someone asked what's wrong, you wouldn't know what to say. Life keeps going, relationships continue, conversations continue, but without realizing it, you stop giving certain things. You stop reassuring people automatically. You stop fixing emotional tension. You stop filling silence. Not on purpose, it just doesn't happen anymore. You begin to observe yourself from a small distance, not numb, not disconnected, just contained, like something inside chose to hold instead of release. Others may say you've become colder or more reserved, but that doesn't feel right. You still feel deeply. You just don't move toward those feelings the same way. Before, closeness felt easy. Now it requires time, safety, and consistency. Even then, you pause, not out of fear, but awareness. You notice how easily people expect access to you, how often they lean on you without checking if you're okay. You didn't notice this before, or you did but ignored it. Now you can't unsee it. People say repeated hurt hardens you, but this doesn't feel like hardening. It feels like holding in, like conserving energy instead of giving it away. You speak less, you listen more, you observe, and surprisingly, this doesn't feel heavy. It feels steady. If you were broken, wouldn't it hurt more? If you were shut down, wouldn't you feel empty? But you don't. You feel calm. Another thing changes. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself. Before, being misunderstood felt urgent. Now it feels tolerable. You let people misunderstand you, not to punish them, but because correcting them feels unnecessary. Others feel this change. They test you. They push old emotional buttons. They wait for the reaction you used to give. Sometimes it doesn't come. They feel unsettled. You feel peaceful. This calm is often misunderstood. People think you don't care anymore, but you do. You just don't let it spill out freely. This didn't come from one event. It came from repetition, from being asked to give again and again until something inside you answered differently. You stop bracing yourself emotionally. You pause before getting close. Not from fear, from recognition. You see patterns faster. You sense when something will cost you more than it gives. People think this pause means you're shutting down, but nothing closed, something reorganized. What looks like distance is actually self-protection. What looks like coldness is control. What looks like withdrawal is the end of automatic self-giving. Repeated hurt doesn't make an empath numb. It teaches them discernment. You learn that empathy without boundaries hurts, that giving endlessly doesn't guarantee care, that being available all the time slowly erases you. So your system adopts before your mind explains it. You stop giving everything at once. You stop leaning forward automatically. At first, this feels like neutrality, but neutrality is powerful. You still feel deeply, you just don't give it all away immediately. You stop chasing clarity. You stop fixing misunderstandings at your own cost. You stop reassuring people who haven't shown care. Some people adjust. They slow down. They meet you with respect. Others feel uncomfortable. They miss your emotional labor. They call you different. But warmth was never the issue. Access was. Repeated hurt teaches you that being open isn't the same as being safe, that love doesn't require self-erasure. So something inside you closes a door gently, not to shut people out, but to breathe. When an empath is hurt repeatedly, they don't pull away from others first. They move closer to themselves. They learn to trust the pause. They listen to discomfort before it becomes pain. They can't go back to the old way, not because they're broken, but because the old way required them to disappear for others. You're still capable of deep connection, but now connection has limits. It has pacing. It has care. From the outside, it may look like detachment. From the inside, it feels like wholeness. Repeated hurt didn't make you less sensitive. It made your sensitivity private. It taught you that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. If people notice you don't respond the same way anymore, they're right. Something changed. You didn't close your heart. You learned to protect it. And you chose to remain whole.